So good afternoon and welcome to Pitch Pro Talks, Winner and Judges Insights. This is a really great opportunity for you to come together and hear from our pitch winners from Catch the Wave 2024, as well as one of our judges, Jilson Daniels. And so we thank you all for joining us today. I always like to start to take a moment and introduce our ORV team for those who may not be familiar. So you should all know, hopefully know, if not, our president and CEO, Lenise Smith, and then our COO is Dr. Frederica Singletary. Our fractional chief financial officer is Jackie Jordan, and our senior director of marketing, communications, and engagement is Courtney Martin. She's here with us today. Colleen Rudisell is our Director of Certification and Outreach, and Robbie Moore is our Certification Manager. And then also our newest member to our team is our Executive Assistant to the CEO, Jen C. Smith. And then our Administrative Assistant is Morgan McDonald. And if I did not already say, my name is Dr. Kitiana Lowe. I go by Dr. K, and I'm the Director of Programs and Events here at WEBEC ORV. And so we are a mighty team, mighty but small, ever-growing team who work diligently to do all that we do for you all in regards to certification and programs and events to help you be successful in your business. I do want to take a quick moment and thank our sponsor for today's event, MassMutual. Thanks to them, we are able to provide this webinar for you with free of charge. So we're thankful to MassMutual for their continued support and partnership with WEBEC ORV and their support of all of you as WBEs. And then first, I would like to go ahead and introduce Jilson Daniels, who is our judge who's going to be sharing today. He is the Senior Vice President of Economic Equity at the Port of Greater Cincinnati Development and Authority. Jilson, do you want to come off mute and just introduce yourself?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jilson Daniels. As Dr. K said, I'm Senior Vice President of Economic Equity and also just took on a new role as interim controller at the Port. We are a real estate development, redevelopment organization. I am also on the board of WEBEC ORV, where I serve as the board treasurer. I'm happy to be here and to give you guys some insights and talk through this. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. And next, I would like to introduce Saida Farrell, who's the founder and CEO of Joy Craft Cocoa, and she was our second place winner at Catch the Wave 2024.
Hey, hello everyone. I'm Chef Saida Farrell, and I'm the CEO and founder of Olivia Rose Confections, where we curate artisan marshmallow and gourmet hot chocolate experiences under our brands Marshmallow of the Month Club and Joy Craft Cocoa.
Awesome. We always love marshmallows. Saida also, I like marshmallows, but Saida also had, we had the opportunity to have her cocoa at a station at our annual party back in December, and it was very, very good. So thank you for that, Saida. And last but certainly not least, I feel like everybody probably already knows Pauline, but Pauline Storms Perkins, the founder and CEO, don't make that face, the founder and CEO of Storm Secured Services. She was also our first place winner at Catch the Wave 2024. Pauline.
Hey everybody, I'm Pauline Storms Perkins. I'm the founder and CEO of Storm Secured Services. We are mainly a security guard company, but we also do pre-employment services such as background checks with a social security trace, drug screening, and we do notary, and we also do DNA testing.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for just a moment and share with you all a little bit about what we're going to be doing here today. So we have, for those who are not familiar with how our pitch submission process works, in order for you to pitch at Catch the Wave, we will do a what we call a pre-qual submission. And we'll have all kinds of details for 2025's Catch the Wave. But as a part of that pre-qualification, all of the people who want to pitch at Catch the Wave submit a 1-minute video pitching, and then we have a review team that reviews those pitches and then we make final selection, and those final 8 to 10 people will actually pitch at Catch the Wave. So today what we're going to do is provide the opportunity for both Saida and Pauline to see their video that they submitted. Remember, this is now a year ago, right? And then they'll also provide kind of their like knee-jerk reactions because neither of them have seen this video since they submitted it. As a matter of fact, I just shared it on the screen and we had several laughs about what they had on or how things were different or all of those kind of things. So you'll kind of see like real time their reactions to everything. And then after we do those videos, they have a chance to share and things like that. We'll move into a panel discussion that we'll have with Saida, Pauline, and Jilson, and then we'll open it up for some Q&A and we'll kind of take things from there. So the first video that I'm going to share is Saida's video. And let me pull that up here. And here we go.
Are you disappointed with prepackaged cocoa that tastes more like chocolate-flavored water rather than a rich, delicious cup of hot chocolate? I'm Chef Saida Farrell, and I'm the founder of Joy Craft Cocoa, a gourmet instant hot chocolate that's made with 4 different cocos, and it's vegan and dairy-free. Joy Craft Cocoa was exclusively featured in our subscription box, Marshmallow of the Month Club. And when our subscribers asked for more cocoa, we packaged it and launched on Amazon. And now we're ready for our national launch. Today, we're seeking $25,000 to be used for a marketing campaign and to buy our ingredients and packaging in bulk, which will drastically reduce our cost of goods and increase our bottom line. To learn more about our gourmet instant hot chocolate, visit us at joycraftcocoa.com and craft your life in joy.
Saida.
I love it. I didn't even realize I pulled my hair back today too. I promise you I have a different jacket and no, but I loved watching that though. I tend to think I'm the funniest person in the room, so I wanted to do something totally jarring by throwing the cocoa on the floor. And as I was practicing, it kept like making such a noise. So I was trying to make sure that I didn't make too much of a noise, and then I didn't realize how much I was clinking on that cup when I did.
That's funny. So I will admit the thing that stood out to me initially, I don't know if I recognized it last year, but I definitely recognize it today, is you actually have s'mores or marshmallow earrings on in
Oh
this
yeah.
in this picture or in this picture in this video, which I
Yeah.
think is a very, very cute touch. I'm an earring connoisseur, so that definitely stood out to me now. Probably didn't stand out then, but definitely stood out now. That's wonderful. All right, let me pull Pauline's and let me share my screen again. And here we go.
Are you tired of the risk and uncertainties when it
Dr.
comes to
K,
hiring new
we're seeing it on
employees?
screen.
Have you ever hired someone who did great in the interview process?
Hold on.
We were seeing all your notes.
Lisa was good.
I was like, she got a
Let's
lot of
try-
windows open.
I do. I have a lot of tabs. Don't judge me, Pauline. All right, let's try this again. Thank you. Okay, you see the right screen this time? All right, here we go.
Are you tired of the risk and uncertainties when it comes to hiring new employees? Have you ever hired someone who did great in the interview process, but once hired turned out to be a Michael Scott or a Leslie Knope? You know what could have saved you time and money? If you would have ran a comprehensive background check first. I'm Pauline Storms Perkins. I'm the founder and CEO of Storm Secure Services. We ensure peace of mind with our background checks and pre-employment drug screening so that you can hire trustworthy individuals. And we don't just stop there. We also provide top-tier security guard services as well to protect your employees and your assets. Some of our previous clients have included Netflix, Hulu TV, Apple TV, Warner Brothers, and many more. So if Superman can trust us, what's stopping you? Our mission is to deliver excellent when it comes to security needs and pre-employment needs so that you can focus on what it is that you do best. Choose us for a more safer and secure future. Thank you.
All right, Pauline, what do you think?
So one thing I've done this before where you have to do a video submission of a pitch, and I forget that it's gonna be showed back. And so I'm always like, Lord, I look tired and everything else, but I was just willing to do it. And I know that I got that information. I wasn't sure if I was going to submit to pitch. And I just was like, let me just go ahead and do this. So I was in the office late, as you guys can probably tell, and I put something together and I was able to memorize it and just say it back. But I look back now and I'm like, I need to really do better with these pitch submissions because I look raggedy.
No, not at all. And so, but I appreciate the fact that you shared that, the information pretty much came across your desk and you're just at the last minute, like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and do it, right? Like you were uncertain about it, but yet and still you did it anyway. And why don't you go ahead and share with our audience? So not only did you come in first at Catch the Wave, share with our audience about the success that that this brought you.
So Catch a Wave was not my first time pitching. I pitched before with Goldman Sachs, and I was like, I can kind of do this. And then I pitched again for Main Street. I'm sure a lot of us know Main Street. I didn't get that one. And then when Catch the Wave came along, I always see Jilson at like Hamilton County Small Business Days, and I was telling him I was going to pitch, and he was like, "You should do it." And when that came along, I submitted that pitch, and then winning Catch the Wave led to going to the semifinals for nationals, and then I made it through that round, and then I made it to semifinals, which I'm not semifinals, I made it to finals, and so they had 24 people, 12 on services and 12 on products, and it was daunting because these women had been on Shark Tank. These women were like, they had pitched multiple times before, and everybody was very memorable. I can probably remember everyone from Catch the Wave who pitched, because you get up there and you have a stage for people to remember who you are and what your business is, which is like probably one of the best things that you can do. But going to nationals and being surrounded by all these people who have done this multiple times, and me just, I just been this for a couple months, was probably the experience of a lifetime doing this. And then coming in second in services, because there are only 2 places, was just the icing on top of the cake. And I was just so astonished. And somebody was like, "You hit all the marks." And I was like, "Did I really?" I just was going along with it and trying to make sure that people understood what I was trying to get across. So yeah, so from there, then I pitched again for Hamilton County Small Business Days, and I pitched again for Main Street again. And then I pitched again for November with it was at the Urban League. I don't think it was with the Urban League, but I think it was a part of that. So once I kind of got the bug, I was like, oh, this is something I could do, make some money. So it has kind of, which I think we all want to. We want to be able to market our services a free way, and then also be able to reap a reward as well.
Yeah, definitely. So you definitely were able to show just how everything, just the different levels of success you can get by doing that. And Saida, I'm adding you in here as well. And I know I've seen on LinkedIn that you've pitched multiple places as well. Do you want to share with us a little bit about your pitch experience after Catch the Wave?
After Catch the Wave, so I did semifinals as well. I did not make it to the finals, but I definitely, like, when I heard like certain pitches, I was like, oh, they got that. Even with Pauline, the way she entertains and talks about like Michael Scott and Leslie Knope, I was like, oh, she beat me. But because it was just like, it resonated with that audience. Like you can, it pulled people in for sure. So I think since Catch the Wave, I've only done maybe one more pitch after that, but I had pitched like way before that. So I think I'm 16 pitches in for a total of $141,105, well, $500. Yeah. 141500. Yeah.
Wow,
I've pitched
that's
for a little while.
wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So tell me, what was the most unexpected challenge that you faced during your pitch preparation, and how did you overcome it? And either one of you can answer first.
Yeah. I mean, definitely that 60 seconds, trying to be concise with 60 seconds. That was a tough one for sure. But during the pitch, that bright light, I was not expecting that. That hit me right in my eyeball. I kind of froze for like a quick second, like that is a very bright light shining on me right now. But then I used it to my advantage by just like staring at the light, and everybody else disappeared. So, so that definitely helped me for sure.
That's good feedback. Pauline, what about yourself?
I would say that when you're going into it and you're practicing so much, like you'll kind of forget things and you'll kind of be on, on top of yourself, like I forgot that. But then that's when you kind of go into the whole overthinking part. And I was when it was time to get up there, I was like, I got this. If I mess up, they'll never know. Just keep on going. And so I think sometimes we can get a little bit too in our head. I like to get up on the stage with a microphone because I used to work at a karaoke spot during college. So I'm always like, I'm good to go. But you can really get into your head with these pitches and just going over it so many times. And so I was just at a point where I was like, I know this, don't overthink it.
Yeah, that's a really good thought process. And Jilson, adding you to this conversation as well. So, with you coming in from a judge's perspective, and then last year you were also one of our coaches that provided some feedback for all the participants. So, when you're evaluating pitches, what are kind of the top 2 or 3 qualities that instantly set a presenter apart for you?
Oh, that's a great question. First and foremost, confidence and voice inflection. And a lot of people tend to put on their what I would call fake voice or their polite voice when they pitch. And it really is, for me, more impactful if it's natural, right? And the voice inflection is there. When I was in college and high school, I was a musician, and I remember when I first started playing the trumpet, one of my trumpet instructors always would tell me to speak from my abdomen as opposed to my throat, and that really helped with voice inflection. So that's one thing that I look for is the confidence and the voice inflection. It just makes you sound like a subject matter expert. And then the second thing that I look for is the fact that you are talking and speaking as if you are a subject matter expert. And you know your product or service. And you're not necessarily convincing me that I need to buy or hire you for what you do, but you're telling me that I'm going to hire you, I buy from you.
That's really good. That's really good. I think to Pauline and Saida, if you could redo your winning pitch. So thinking back to maybe Pauline when you were at finals, or Saida maybe when you were at semifinals, what would you change or maybe emphasize differently, if anything?
Yeah. I mean, no one told me that my packaging was backwards on camera. So that was I don't know if that hurt me or not, but I would definitely do a run through to make sure everything is correct. And yeah, and I think I for semifinals I was definitely too much in my head and I like forgot a couple of points that I wanted to say. And because I was kind of thinking like, should I have my script and read my script or should I just be off the cuff? Because you can kind of tell sometimes when people are reading their script, and just like Jilson was saying, like that inflection, it just doesn't always sound genuine when you're reading your script. So I chose not to have my script in front of me because that was a virtual pitch. But yeah, so I would have definitely done a run through for sure.
That's good. That's good. Pauline, what about yourself?
I know when I got to finals, I ended up changing it, but I know it catched a wave. I wish I would have just focused on one thing because sometimes when you have so many products, people are like, are you doing security or are you doing pre-employment services? Or are you doing drug screenings? So it was kind of more so emphasizing. But when I got to finals, I did get a good tip. And it was like 5 hours before I was supposed to pitch, but it was about honing in on one thing. And so I was like, that makes a lot of sense because, as business owners, we doing it like, I do this and I do this. And then people are like, well, baby, what is it that you focus on? So, so it was more so of that. So I was like, that was a really good tip. I might not like the people who gave it to me, but I definitely love the tip.
And that is what is most important, right?
That's
We eat the
right.
meat and we spit out the bones.
That's
But
right.
I appreciate that for both of you, you're able to identify what things I may need to change, even if it is hours before I get up on the stage, or the importance of that even Jilson Saida that you talked about is bringing your authentic selves to the table, regardless of whether you're reading your script or you're just going off the cuff and you've memorized, like, these are the 5 things I want to make sure that I get out, because nobody knows your business like you know your business. And Pauline, as you mentioned, nobody's going to know that you made a mistake unless you go, ooh, and then now we all know that you made a mistake, right? And so I think that's
Yeah.
really good. So Jilson, how do you balance evaluating the idea itself versus the entrepreneur's ability to execute it? So I have an amazing pen company. You can't see my pen, but I just tried to throw on the screen. There we go. How do you balance between this is like the best thing in the whole wide world versus my ability to actually execute and share to you all that this is the best thing in the whole wide world and you need it?
Yeah, that's another great question, Dr. K. You know, presenting yourself as a subject matter expert, which includes talking about your background and some of the things you've accomplished, regardless of what it is that you're pitching, I think that puts the confidence in the evaluator or the listener, that you are able to achieve the revenue potential from your business, from your business idea, right? And again, it all comes down to that confidence piece, right? And I always tell those who pitch, whether to me or those who are in my classes, that talking about yourself and highlighting what you've done well and even what you haven't done well gives the listener, gives the evaluator the opportunity to say, yeah, she knows what she's doing. And it doesn't matter what you're selling.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think that's really great advice. You're right. It doesn't matter what you're selling. It's just how strong, how well you can come across as knowing that you know what you're talking about. So I think that's really good as well. So Saida and Pauline, other than the advice that you all have given up to this point, what advice would you give future pitchers, or if there are some people that are in the room that aren't quite sure whether they should pitch or not, about balancing storytelling versus like the hard data that you want to come across in pitching?
That's a good question.
Well, I'll say this. I do like to tell a story, and that goes along with what Jilson just said. And it's building credibility, and it's also engaging your audience. And that's one thing, I know how to kind of somehow do is to engage the audience, but then also I don't want to come to the table and be like, yeah, I do security guard services. I also have a master's in criminal justice. We have provided security services for every single major motion picture film that's come into Cincinnati since 2016. So a lot of times it's putting those accolades out there, but then trying to figure out how to engage them as well. And mine just so happened to be through a relatable TV show. And I've done that pitch before and had to switch it up with people, other characters, that this audience would know. And I also would say to those who are pitching or thinking about pitching, just do it scared. Like I said, I did that. I'd always know I wanted to do it, but I did that pitch submission in a couple hours at the office. And I was like, we'll see what happens. But I knew that I had it on my vision board that I wanted to pitch. And my last little tidbit is know what you're pitching for, because I did a pitch. My last pitch I did, it was a financial pitch, and I had no clue. So, and then I didn't know it was a financial pitch because I didn't get the instructions until the end. And so it's kind of, if you don't receive any instructions or anything like that, it's good to be able to reach back out. But I didn't know. So I'm still learning as I'm pitching to be like, what type of pitch this is. And I also didn't know there were different types of pitches. So there's just always, I'm always a learner. I'm always a student.
Yeah, that's really, really good feedback to take the moment. Like you said, if you don't get the instructions, to ask. Because if it is a financial pitch and you're not following those types of guidelines, you're not going to score as well had you followed the guidelines. But in your case, you didn't even realize that there were guidelines that existed. Saida, what about yourself?
Yeah, so Jilson's note to me was like the note that stuck with me for like the longest time because his note to me was, I want to know more about you. And I was like, well, in 60 seconds, what can I tell you about me? So when it comes to that storytelling, I think we want to tell the entire story. And when you're pitching, the judges have an opportunity to ask you questions. So it's really just getting, the highlights of your story so that you can focus on some of that data as well. And then let the story be so compelling that the judge wants to ask you a question. So all the fluff that you wanted to get into the story, they can just ask you during that time. So it doesn't eat up the time that you're pitching, and then you may go overtime for sure. So, and then if you haven't pitched, I say just pitch anyway and find a pitch that will give you feedback, right? So I appreciate that, we were able to get like our notes back from the judges so that you can really look at that and see, what their interpretation of my pitch was. Because I don't know if there were like 5 judges, but it was interesting to see that one of the judges didn't hear me talk about my target market. So I didn't know, maybe I was speaking too fast, or maybe I should have said my target market or something like that. So if the other judges heard it and this one didn't, so I really appreciated the feedback. But always pitch, even if it's not a good pitch. And that rubric is so important. I'm really big on that. Whenever I'm pitching, I will ask for the judge's rubric, because I do want to understand, like, what are they looking for in the pitch?
That's really, really good. And sounds like Jilson gives some really great feedback when you all pitch. I know I've heard stories from Pauline as well about Jilson's feedback. Jilson, other than,
Ruthless.
would you say he's ruthless?
But you know what? He's great. Like I don't know if he does like pitch coaching or anything like that, but I've known Jilson for a long time now. But he is one of the best people to provide feedback because he's going to be honest. And if he knows that you've been pitching, he's going to really ask you the really tough questions. And I needed that. So it was, although I kind of scowled at him at the end, like, did we just do this? I came in second, Jilson, but I killed it out there. And it was like, I didn't realize the type of pitch I was doing. And that's why I was like, okay, this is a learning moment for me. So it's okay. But Jilson provides, I've been to pitches where people were judging and they hadn't pitched before. And so I was like, this doesn't make any sense. But with Jilson, he has done it. Like, I don't know if he has pitched, but he pitches. He knows what to expect. He isn't up there, just to be like, I'm here, I'm Jilson, I'm at the port, I also do this too. But he knows what he's doing. And it makes the biggest difference. So if you ever get to take one of his classes, go ahead if he's teaching it, because he's great. Not just saying that, he is. And Saida
Now
is very
Jilson's inbox gets flooded with emails. Would you say, Pauline?
and Saida is seamless. I remember her pitch very well. It was like smooth, like her cocoa that she's talking about. Like, it was just so smooth. And I was like, dang, this is amazing. It just makes you want to fall in love with it. So I'm like, I remember just about every single person that pitched, and especially Saida and Miss
Yeah.
Barb.
Yes, yes, yes. Barb was supposed to be here today, but she had another event, so she wasn't able to. But yes, I agree. So Jilson, tell us, what are the most common mistakes that you see, even if it's from an otherwise strong candidate? What would you say that you see most often?
I would say rushing through the pitch,
Mhm.
talking too fast for sure. And then another one, just to add, is when you get stuck and maybe forget what you're saying, just pause, right? And don't acknowledge that you're stuck. Again, it's presenting that confidence. And most of the time, if you pause, you'll remember what you were going to say, and you'll pick right back up where you left off, and no one will ever really know that you messed up.
Yeah, that's really good. Except for Jilson, because he just told you to pause. So Jilson will know, but nobody else will know. That's really good, because you're right. We get, as the ladies have said, right, we get so stuck in our heads and we're trying to make sure, did I remember to say this? Did I not say that? Did I say it in the right way? And then you're like, wait, where was I going to go next? And how do I get back there? And so, Jilson, I think that's really good feedback, is just to take that moment to take a breath in that
Yeah.
pause, and then kind of reset yourself and continue to move forward. And nobody will know that, you didn't just pause for dramatic effect or whatever the reason may have been. So
Right.
that's really good as well. Pauline and Saida, after winning all the pitch competitions that you've won, Saida, you talked about, I think, $141,000. Pauline, we were on a call the other last week, I think, and you mentioned something about I don't know if it was a total dollar amount or just one event that you have done. How has this changed your mindset, or how has your mindset about pitching and storytelling, how has that evolved?
The evolution. Well, mine's evolved into becoming a pitch mentor. That's definitely, and but one thing that's evolved is I had to change. Coming in second place was tough for me, and so I had to change my mindset of what it actually meant to win a pitch competition. So when I pitched, I was talking to Tina Shimon before that, and she was telling me like who's in the room. So I kind of started thinking more about like I'm not just pitching to the judges. There are other people in the room that I can be pitching to as well. So I don't do the story just for the judges. I do the storytelling for whoever is in the room because there are opportunities definitely with WeBank for people in the room. So I don't just pitch to the judges anymore. I try to tell that story. And it was interesting. For semifinals, while I was pitching, I had my phone on Do Not Disturb. And when I turned it off, all these orders started coming in from people who were like listening to my pitch. So
That's wonderful. That's
so I really like,
wonderful.
yeah.
That definitely, and Pauline, I'll let you speak next. But one of the things that I always share with our WBEs is that they never know who's in the room. And I encourage all of our WBEs to submit for the prequal to be able to submit at Catch the Wave. And I say, because when else we have the opportunity to stand in front of a room of 300 or 400 people and share about your business? And you're right, Jilson may never buy whatever it is that you're selling. The other judges may or may not need what you're selling. But someone else in the room may have something going on and they need security services, or they need background checks, or your business may be in home health care, and nobody at the table needs home health care right now, but somebody else's parent is now, is now aging, and now they're like, oh, well, let me go ahead and talk to this person about home health care instead of going on to Google and just finding a home health care agency in my industry or in my area. So I think that's really great feedback that you actually had to change your thought process and not looking at coming in second place as a negative thing, but still the opportunity. And it's wonderful that you saw that in all the orders that came in as a result of just your pitching, regardless of what place you came in. That's really good. Pauline, what about yourself?
Yeah, so I just echo Saida. I got this from Miss Barb. I kept seeing her from the first year when I went to Catch the Wave. And then I was like, this lady's pitching, and she was bomb. She was doing all these acronyms and DEI. And I was like, who is she? You remember her. And that's the biggest thing, is that you remember who she was because of her pitch. And so she did the second year, then she did the third year. And so I was like, I finally caught on that she's not there to win the money or whatever the prize is. She's there to bring awareness to what it is that her business does. And so that is what I'm still getting to that grown age of you, Saida, where you're like, I'm pissed and I missed that, because I still be pissed. But so I'm still learning. But more so now it's, trying to get that into my head that I'm bringing more awareness, because there are people who will be like, oh, I remember you. You're from Catch the Wave. And I'm like, oh, God, you know my name. So it's, letting these people, they're finally getting to know your name, what it is that your business does. And that's the biggest thing, is that you have this stage. It's, take advantage of the opportunity. And I'm trying to put this into there, but you may not always need security guard services, but you do need trustworthy employees. So, putting that in there, and people are always like, oh, can you do your pitch? I'm like, yes, I can. I could do 60 minutes. I can do 2 minutes. I can do 6 minutes. Like and I think I have all these pitches ingrained in my head because you do them all the time and you're saying them constantly. So I think it's always great practice to know that, because when you're trying to sell your business, your pitch is a part of that. So
Very true. Very true. I see Angela, you put in the chat, opportunity cost that takes nerves of steel. And that's true. It does take nerves of steel. But I think what the ladies and even Jilson are sharing here today is that it's all doable, right? Like you can all do it. And that's what's most important. So I want to kind of pivot and take this opportunity to open up the floor to the attendees for this webinar. Do any of you have any questions that you'd like to ask Pauline or Saida or Jilson?
I'll throw a question out there that people always ask me. Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Carolyn.
No,
I'm gonna email you back. I'm in Owensboro. I ain't home yet, so I'm gonna email you back. So, well, back to that home. People always ask me all the time. They'll be like, "Oh, where do you find these pitch opportunities at?" And I told somebody one day, I was like, "They they come to my email, and then I'm like,
Mhm.
I follow people on LinkedIn, Saida, and she'll be like, it's a pitch coming up, y'all, $25,000. And I'll look and be like, oh, you gotta be in Cleveland. So it's kind of, it's kind of like doing a little bit of eye hustling or ear hustling and see,
Yeah.
what other people are kind of doing to see if that may be a good track for you. But people always ask that, like, how did you hear about this? Or how do you hear about more pitches? And it's kind of word of mouth or via email. I know Hamilton County is really getting on the bandwagon of trying to put more pitches out there. And even the Urban League did one, and I'm seeing more people bring this opportunity to us to not just win some money, but then also to give us an opportunity to talk about our businesses. And like I said, I run into the CMHA lady director of it, and she remembered me, and I was like, I've never met you, but somehow you know me. And that's great because I ended up sending an RFP in for her, but it's just taking advantage of the opportunity because, it really scares me being broke. So you have to make sure you step out on faith. You do. But people, that's my biggest question. So I don't know, Saida, if you want to, tap into that.
Yeah. I think most cities have an urban league or a small business development center. So once you start like building those relationships, they'll tell you about a lot of the pitches that are available. And I mean, just a quick Google search, you'll find some pitch opportunities as well.
That's good feedback. Carolyn, you had a question.
I did. I noticed that you all mentioned that there are different types of pitches, and so I was curious about that. In addition to there's a rubric and points that people have to meet. I'm curious about those as well. So more information, please.
I pitch it to
Yeah.
Jason. He knows all about this.
Did you say me? I'm sorry, my speaker. If so, I'll answer the one question about the different types of pitches. One, there's the sales pitch, right? You're trying to sell what it is that you make or what it is that you do. And then there's the financial pitch, and that's where you're asking for something. And I call it a financial pitch, but it might be something else, but you're looking for resources or for money or something that's going to help you advance your business. And then the third type, I think, is an informational pitch. You're just providing information as a subject matter expert, not necessarily looking for a sale or a contribution or investment, but you're sharing information about your product, your service, or yourself.
Thank you.
I'll
Sure.
also add that when it comes down to the pitching for Catch the Wave, so Catch the Wave is the first round, as I think Pauline mentioned, of all of the pitch competition that Nationals has. So all of the RPOs have their own type of a pitch competition. Ours just happens to be at Catch the Wave. Some other RPOs might just do some type of a initial round. But we also share with all of our WBEs the information that Nationals is looking for. And so the rules for our pitch competition at our level are the rules that National has established. So I believe each level, I know I haven't looked at for this year, but I know in the past 2 years, each level of their pitch competition has different requirements. So they're looking for you to share different things. They may have different time requirements. I want to say ours is 60 seconds, I believe. Then I think it might go up to like 2 minutes, and then finals might be 3 minutes. And Pauline, correct me if I'm wrong. Pauline and Saida.
Yeah.
Say that
Yeah, I
again.
think it's 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you'll actually be able to see, I don't know if at the other levels, if Nationals gives out their judges scoring rubric, but if nothing else, you'll know exactly what they're looking for. Are they looking for it to be interactive? Are they looking for it to be more financial based or that sort of thing? And so that's information that when the Catch the Wave website goes live, subtle plug, it will go live if all things work well, May 1st, which is that tomorrow? Is that tomorrow? It's the day after tomorrow. They got 2 days. 2 days, and the Catch the Wave website will go live, right? And there will be a tab on the Catch the Wave website for our pitch competition. And so you will see all that information on there as well as to what the parameters are for the pre-call submission. And I'll also go ahead and add on there the slick that I have from Nationals that kind of lays out all the 3 levels for their for that they're looking for as well.
And I'll also add in there, I like a rubric because at least they're going down the list of what it is that, did you hit it? Was it engaging with the crowd? Did you hit the time? I prefer that. And then they're able to give that to you at the end so you'll know where to work on. But I've been in pitches where the person got all 5s and you're kind of like scratching your head like, well, how come you didn't place or, or what was the problem here? But I prefer the rubric. More than anything, to tell you the truth. I think is very fair judging. And it's not just people going off of feelings, because I've done pitches and I was like, what were you guys judging it off of? And so I like when they do that.
And I actually just pulled this up. If I can get my computer to cooperate with me, I will share my screen so you all can see it as well. Okay. Let me share. And it may be a little small. My system's acting funky, so I'll just kind of share. So actually, so in our first round, so while our pre-qual, we do 60 seconds, in this first round for this year, they're giving a max of 3 minutes, and the focus is on accelerating your story. And then if you make it to semifinals, it's 2 minutes and accelerate your impact. And then in the finals, it's accelerate your pitch. And so then they give a short description as to what they're looking for you to do at each of those different levels. So in that first round, it's what is your company's mission, or excuse me, what is your company's message? Focus on communicating the company's story in a creative and compelling way. So the rubric that we put together for our judges will have questions along those lines in comparison with the rubric that I'm sure the judges would have in the finals, where it says showcase the company's most effective pitch, focus on efficiently introducing the company's value and leaving a lasting impression. So Nationals does provide some specifics as to what like to see at each of the different levels, which does also mean that you are fine-tuning your speech or your presentation as you go on. Angela, you asked, why is it called a rubric? I'd have to Google that to get like the truth answer to it. I feel like because it's like a Rubik's Cube, so you got to get the different things to fit together, but that's Dr. K's answer. I'd have to actually like Google what the official definition is for why it's called a rubric. But I think of like a Rubik's Cube, and you have to, turn and maneuver different ways to put it all together.
Sorry, I had to run out. It's raining here really bad, and I left my car window down, so I got soaked. But anyway, I came back just in time.
You sure did. You came back just in time for me to try to figure out. I'm like, I don't know why it's called a rubric. I'll Google it and get an answer to you. Does anybody? That's a really good question, though, Carolyn. Did anybody else have any questions today? Yeah, go ahead, Angela.
All right, so what's the timing for WeBeck ORV pitch competition, like the pitch process?
Yep. So that was the part that you just missed because you were in the rain, but no worries.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So when the Catch the Wave website goes live, there's a tab on there for pitch competition. And it's going to tell you our timing that we require for the pre-qual submission. So to submit that video, like we saw that Saida and Pauline submitted. And then you will also see the qualifications of what Nationals is looking for, because the pitch competition is the first level to Nationals larger competition. And so I'll share, did I lose it? Let me share my screen again really quickly, just so you can get an idea as to what it looks like, but don't feel like you've got to jot it down really quickly because it's all going to be on the website. But you'll be able to see something that looks similar to this. And you'll see this is exactly what Nationals is looking for at the first round, which is going to be the round at Catch the Wave, where you have a maximum of 3 minutes to submit. And then at the second round, what they're looking for, and then the
3
finals
minutes?
round, what they're looking for. You have up to 3 minutes. Up to. You don't have to take all the time, but you have up to 3 minutes to submit or to do your pitch at Catch the Wave. So, but all of this information, these details will be on our Catch the Wave website underneath the pitch competition tab. So you'll be able to get that all there as well. Any other questions?
Can I add one thing too?
You sure can.
I also say that when you're pitching, try to do it extemporaneously too. I know when I did a pitch and she was like, I didn't know we weren't allowed to use note cards. You know, sometimes some pitches may let you use a note card, but I think that's kind of similar to having a PowerPoint and reading it off to people and not being able to really connect with your audience. So you know, wherever you're pitching at, just ask them if you're allowed to have it. I like to practice with note cards, and I'll say it into like my phone and then just play it back. Cause I like to hear myself and be like, okay, because it just gets it ingrained to your mind. But I know when I went to nationals, there was one lady and she did wonderful in the semifinals. And then when we got to nationals, she was like the only one using cards. And I was like, we are here with the big dogs. Like nobody was using cards. And she's like, I had no clue. And I just wanted to be like, why didn't anybody tell you, you know, it's best to kind of be extemporaneous. So yeah, just you can check with that, but I don't like to use no cards either. To be very honest with you, I just try to do it off the top of my head. But you know, if you forget something, it's good to look down at it, but it kind of disconnects you for a little bit. So getting that clarification is helpful.
Yeah, that's really good feedback. That also reminds me of a question I know came up. Oh, no, I don't know. Wasn't last year, so it must have been the year before, about whether you can use props. And so when you're pitching in different places, I would just say to ask if the information does not share and you have a prop that you think would actually bring value to your presentation. For example, Saida holding her cocoa, right? Some places may allow, some places may not allow, right? But that's something that if you think that is going to be a value add to your presentation, then I would say check to make sure it's okay. And if it's okay, go ahead and do that thing. When I think about Catch the Wave last year, and I can't think of her name right now, but one of the ladies that pitched, she had a hard hat on it.
Yeah.
And regardless of what she was talking about in her pitch, she's memorable to me because she had a hard hat on. She reminded me of Wendy from Bob the Builder when my son was growing up. And so it's just those little things that even Pauline was talking about that make you memorable for the next time that you're out somewhere and people are like, oh, I remember you had a hard hat when you pitched, or I remember you have the security services, or you had the marshmallows and the hot chocolate and that kind of thing. So find different things. I think when we did this session last year, Barb was our first place winner, and when she watched her video, she talked about how intentional she was even in the video submission, that the color palette that she wore aligns with her organization. And I'm not saying that you've got to go to the extent and do all of these things. I'm just sharing some of the things that different people have done that have shown like how intentional they are about, I can't walk around with a piece of steel in my hand, but I can still look like steel in my color palette or look along the same lines as steel may be. So those are different things that you may want to keep in mind as well as you're planning out.
I had a brown turtleneck on, brown boots, brown skirt. So yeah, to look like chocolate. So I was
look like chocolate.
To look like chocolate. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're be intentional about what you wear when you pitch. Pauline and we were kind of joking. Pauline was talking about her outfit that she had on in her submission. So no, we listen, we don't judge, right? But honestly, when we're looking at those pre-qual submissions, we're not looking at what you have on to determine whether we think you should be able to pitch at Catch the Wave or not. We're listening to what you're doing. We're looking at how you're pitching, what information you're sharing, that sort of thing. And this is just a small, minute point in comparison with what you actually will do at Catch the Wave, because like I said, your pre-qual is 60 seconds, but at Catch the Wave, you've got 3 minutes, right? So you have a chance to kind of expound on whatever that thing is that you're going to focus on. But just a couple of things to not make you more afraid about pitching, but just so that you're more aware about all the different things that you can keep in mind.
I have an additional question. I noticed
Sure.
that there are a number of opportunities kind of coming up for pitch accelerators and all kinds of amazing things. And so and also I noticed that Saida mentioned that she was a judge, that she was a mentor, and Jilson possibly has training available. So I'm just curious about, with all of the different options that are out there to get people ready, what are some recommendations around what's the best way to prepare with all of the things?
So I'll answer first, and of course, I'm going to be biased to WeBack ORV, and so I'm going to share the slide that I have that I was getting ready to share as well. The upcoming things that we have. So we actually have a session. It's going to be a hybrid event. So if you're in or near the Cincinnati area, you're welcome to attend in person. If you're not in the area, you can attend virtually. But Sheila Mixon is actually going to be facilitating a session talking about how to frame your pitch, how to craft your pitch, giving the opportunity for you all to pitch live and get some direct feedback and things like that. And so I think those types of sessions are always good. Nationals also offers some pitch training, so we've got that information there as well. And I'll make sure that this slide, we're going to send this to you via email. Thank you, Courtney. She's dropping stuff in the chat as well. Ultimately, I will say that you're right, Caroline. Like, there's so much out there. Everybody is doing it in different kinds of ways. The one thing that I even said to Pauline, right, is that you eat the meat and you spit out the bones, because everybody may have their thoughts as to how you should do this and how you should do that. You can listen to Jilson, you can listen to Sheila, you can listen to Saida, you can listen to whomever else, and they all may teach something a little bit differently. And then from there, you take the information, you figure out what's going to work best for you, and how to do that, how to do those things. What is your question? Are the ones with 2 dates the same thing happening twice? I'm going to assume so.
Yes.
I think Nationals is providing multiple opportunities for people to attend their webinars instead of just having it all at one time because of how large their audience is. So I definitely say plug in with the opportunities that we have here at WeBack ORV, plug in with the opportunities that Nationals is providing as well. I would probably go there before any place else, because who best to, kind of share about what they're looking for and those types of things than the organization. But also, as you're practicing and things like that, you practice in front of those closest to you, right? Practice in front of your mirror, practice in front of your friend, in front of your spouse, in front of your dog, right? Like, just practice, 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 practice. Because then it becomes ingrained, it becomes a part of who you are. And then really all you're doing is just sharing your story about your business, opposed to having your notes where you've got to get all of these points across. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
I would
Any
also
other-
say to, I always love to tap into that. I know last year I had tuned into this, so I was like, oh, let me see what they have to say about pitching. And then I was pitching in front of other weebies. I was pitching in front of my mother. She worked for Procter & Gamble for 20 years, and she always like, inflection, are you inflecting? I was one of the first operators, and I'm like, okay, Valerie. But I pretty much was practicing as much as I could, to the point where it wasn't driving me crazy. Then also asking other people who have pitched before and have been successful with it. Because a lot of times when people have done it, they'll be like, oh, I charge this, and I'm like, just ask other people who have done it. They also don't have anything it's not like they're gatekeeping. I don't gatekeep, but I'm also, I'm like, straightforward with it. And I think some of my friends pitched last week. Lamondo was one of them, and I gave her like 3 tips. It was nothing to confuse her, but tell her, like, girl, you got to get straight to the money. Let them know what it is that you're asking for. Make sure you're clear about what it is that your business does. And try to put a little bit of personality in there. And she said she did good. She's like, I didn't mess up. And I was like, I would never think that you would mess up anyways. But, it's asking other people who have done it successfully seems to help too. But some people can kind of steer you down the wrong road. So you got to eat the meat and spit out the bones. That was a new one I learned from Dr. K today.
But you definitely want to watch other people pitch too. Go to pitch competitions, watch videos online. And I think it's good to study the art of storytelling too. A lot of times with our businesses, we think we're the hero of our business, but your customer is actually the hero. So understanding like how to tell the story so that it's what's in it for your customer as opposed to like, I do this amazing thing and what that transformation is for the customer. So studying storytelling is really important. And I always tell people, go watch Guy Kiyosaki's TED Talk from about 10, 15 years ago. He's an amazing storyteller and understanding like your unique selling proposition and just being able to talk about your business. Because who knows your business better than you, but you should always be pitching and just telling people about your business at all times.
That's really good thoughts, really good feedback. And Jilson, do you have any final thoughts as well, since we're kind of wrapping things up here?
I think everyone has said a lot. And I think I would just encourage everyone to definitely look for the opportunities to pitch. Practice makes perfect. In any of the classes that I teach, that's the one thing we do every session is pitch, because that's going to build your confidence and also help you in telling your story.
That's really good. Yeah, Courtney, I'm right there with you. Can't wait to see. Let's see, there are how many people in this room right here. So I should see submissions from Michelle. Michelle already knows I've already gotten on her once. I should see Kathy, Karen, Angela, who else? Joycelyn, Connie, Monet, Charlotte. We should at least have these people submitting, right? But Angela's face is like, who? My mantra is always, one is do it scared, and two is if you don't do it, the answer will always be no. But if you do it, there's a chance the answer could be yes. And I think one of the things that you all have heard today is it's not just about getting to the point and winning the dollars, although winning the dollars is definitely a perk of pitching, but it's also about sharing your business and your story with other people. And yes, it is time to put your big girl pants on and pitch, Kathy, 100%. 100%. But it's really about just practicing. And you can practice at home a gazillion times, but it's never going to feel the same as when you practice, Courtney. It's never going to feel the same as when you practice by standing in front of a group of people or a room full of people and pitching. It's a completely different experience. And so I would encourage all of you to take in that experience at Catch the Wave this year. Any final thoughts? As we're going to final thoughts, because I know we are running out of time, I do want to take a moment and share this QR code. If you're not watching this on your phone, pull out your phone and scan the QR code and fill out our brief survey. We're always looking at ways that we can make things even better. And so if you can provide us that feedback there. And then I also want to take a brief moment, and no worries, Angela. This survey will also be sent via email in our recap email that will go out in a couple of days. And so you'll see that there. You can always fill that out at that time too. So no worries at all. And then I also, while you are filling that out, want to talk about, I've already talked about that slide, want to talk about some of the upcoming events that we have here at WBEC ORV. So for our certified WBEs, I always like to highlight our doing business with our corporate sessions. So coming up on May 14th is doing business with Restaurant Supply Chain Solutions. And then May 21st, doing business with Eaton. And so you can click the link to the calendar that Courtney just dropped into the chat there, and that will take you to our website, and you can register for any of our events through that site. And then also we are excited to share about our WBE Connects. So we have one coming up in Cincinnati on May 7th, and then we are going to Kentucky. So we'll be in Louisville on June 3rd. And our WBE Connects are a really great opportunity for our WBEs, both certified and non-certified WBEs, to come together, mix and mingle, network, and connect. It's a really great opportunity to get to know other people within our RPO. So we always like to share those. And then, of course, I would be remiss, and I know I've already mentioned it a couple of times, but Catch the Wave, which is when you'll be pitching, right? Yes. It is August 25th through the 27th in Cleveland this year. So as I have stated, and therefore now have to make sure it happens, registration will go live on May 1st. So be sure to watch your emails and our social media posts, because Courtney will be posting all about the Catch the Wave website when that goes live on May 1st. And all of the details surrounding the conference will be laid out there. If nobody else has any other questions, I want to thank you all for taking time out of your day today to join us for this session. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day, everybody.